Donald Trump's $1.776 billion slush fund that could hand out taxpayer dollars to the January 6 insurrectionists who stormed the U.S. Capitol and assaulted and beat and tased police officers cemented his loyalty likely to his most fervent and violent supporters. One of the officers injured on January 6, our next guest, writes this about the fund, quote, "What those rioters did was a betrayal of this country, an American betrayal committed by people waving American flags as they pummeled American cops. Then Donald Trump pardoned them, every single one. That was a deeper betrayal, a decision made in broad daylight by the President of the United States." And now this, a nearly $2 billion slush fund wrapped in an American symbol to be placed like a wreath at Arlington Cemetery to the violent insurrectionists who tried to overthrow democracy over a lie. In my book, this is the greatest betrayal of them all. This one has the seal of the Department of Justice on the letterhead. The government we ran toward that day is now telling us in writing that the people who tried to kill us are the victims, and we were the problem. We're joined now by Officer Michael Fanone. He's a spokesperson for Home of the Brave. Cornell and Claire are still here. Thank you for being here. I've read and seen your comments, but I wonder if you could just let me do this. Let me show you how fast Josh Hawley ran from the insurrectionists as you ran toward them to protect men like Josh Hawley. There he is. He was running so quickly and kind of looked, I guess, more athletic than some of the other members. I think there's some video where he passes some others. And my point in showing this isn't that he shouldn't have been running. I'm glad he did. I'm glad he was safe. But he was running from people that the government is now giving $1.7 billion to. So in the moment, he didn't think they were worthy. He didn't think they were safe enough to be around. He set off running like a sprinter.
Yeah, I've lost, I don't know, I think adjectives have lost meaning in describing the actions of this administration. I guess there's a combination of two that come to mind, and it's fucking disgraceful. That taxpayer money would be used to compensate violent insurrectionists. And let's make no mistake about what this fund is going to be used for. This fund is going to be used to pay violent criminals for committing violent crimes on behalf of Donald Trump on January 6, 2021. And that's it. You know, if January 20th was the nail in the coffin for accountability on January 6th, in Trump's pardoning of the 1,500 plus insurrectionists that participated in the events of that day, this was like salt on the wound. You know, and it's, you know, the 1776 number, it's so blatantly obvious. It's another attempt at this administration to rebrand the violent criminals who attacked police officers on January 6th as patriots, as if they're somehow, you know, in the same vein of those that crossed the Delaware River with George Washington, you know, to free us from tyranny. It's unbelievable. It should outrage every American, and yet it doesn't.
Just so our viewers know, the actual amount of the fund is $1.776 billion. Subtlety has never been their jam. Let me ask you to just try to put into words what Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen pressed Todd Blanche about today, which was that a convicted child molester told his child victims, "Shh, don't tell anyone about the crimes I'm carrying out against you, molestation, because I'm going to come into restitution." This is NPR's reporting. Todd Blanche simply reacted by saying, well, basically, he couldn't have known yet. We hadn't announced it yet. And like that was essentially what the testimony amounted to. It didn't exist yet. It hadn't been announced yet. And that's true. I guess a press release hadn't gone out. But this January 6th insurrectionist who would go on to commit the crime and be convicted of child molestation told one of his child victims that he would come into restitution that Donald Trump had promised the insurrectionists. How much of the premeditation of all this is signaling to anyone in the future who might carry out political violence, which I think most normal people believe is a scourge, that not only will they be pardoned, but they might be paid?
I think that it's not speculation to assume that, first of all, I think that that is a motivating factor as to why this administration is engaging in this payout. And going back to what it is, it's Donald Trump and Trump's administration and his personal attorney, Todd Blanche, who cosplays as the acting attorney general, setting this up, knowing full well that not only did they absolve these individuals who committed criminal acts on this administration's behalf of criminal culpability, but that they're now going to pay them. And I can tell you right now, my DMs and my social media have been flooded with individuals who would like to kill me so that they themselves can get a payout from this administration because they think that that's what would most likely happen.